love music, and sometimes I get caught up in my playlist. But it turns out that's okay. Our music can have a profound influence on our spiritual, physical, and psychological well-being. After years of research, 3 people, Dr. Galina Minlin, Don DeRosso, and Joseph Cardillo, have found scientifically proven, step-by-step methods to use your favorite music to enhance your memory, organization, and more. Today, I'd like to talk about 3 of them. I'd like to explain how music can increase your alertness, improve your mood, and sharpen your memory. To begin, music can increase your alertness just by listening to it daily. This is because of the BPM, or beats per minute, in a song. Songs with lower BPM, like Frank Sinatra's New York, New York, do not get your heart rate going very quickly. But songs with higher BPMs, like Michael Jackson's Beat It, make you alert very quickly. This is an important thing to realize if you are going to make a playlist for your workout regimen. You want songs with lower BPMs first, and songs with higher BPMs later. So you would want to start out with a slow BPM song, like Don McLean's Bye Bye Miss American Pie, and then lead into a faster BPM song, like Steppenwolf's Born to be Wild, and then end with another slow BPM song, like Miley Cyrus's We Can't Stop. This way, the BPMs in your song are matching your heart rate of the workout. Dr. Galina Minlin compares the BPMs in music to coffee and prescription drugs in the way that it increases your alertness. Music can give you the boost you need without any of the negative side effects, says Minlin. If you are going to make a playlist, it is important that you think about the song lyrics and the emotions the song gives you. You want a song that will make you anticipate the ending and make you work. This way you get the best out of your workout and ultimately the best out of your day. Along with increasing your alertness, music can also improve your mood. For this to happen, you need to understand how one specific song can affect you emotionally. For example, when I was growing up with my best friends, our favorite song used to be Mirrors by Justin Timberlake. Every time we were together, we would listen to it. Now, every time I hear that song, I immediately think of my best friends and all the fun times we had. If you have a song like this for you, the emotions you feel and the images you imagine in your mind are rewarding your brain, the effects of dopamine. Now let's look at some situations where music can affect your mood without any emotional connection. Let's say you're doing a boring, monotonous job, like painting your room, and you're feeling kind of blah. It may help if you play some mildly arousing music. Songs, like the Beatles' Here Comes the Sun, are scientifically proven songs to help you improve your mood. But let's say you need an immediate rush of adrenaline, and the Beatles just isn't cutting it for you. Our football team does this before a big game by blasting aggressive songs on the PA. Songs by Queen and AC/DC gets their blood pumping and ready to go. Along with increasing your alertness and improving your mood, music can also sharpen your memory. This is because the brain cells that connect to music are the same brain cells that connect to memory. So, the more music you listen to, the better your memory is. This is important if you're in the middle of what you know is going to be a very good memory. You want to constantly play songs that you listen to often, so that every time you hear the song, you think of the memory, and the memory stays sharper in your brain. Some scientifically proven songs are Love Shack Baby by the B-52s, Everybody Dance Now by C+C Music Factory, and Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch's Good Vibrations. But ultimately, it's up to what you like to listen to. To conclude, music can increase your alertness, improve your mood, and sharpen your memory just by listening to it daily. I completely agree with Frederick Nietzsche, who said, without music, life would be pointless. Now, as NSYNC would say, bye, 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 bye.
My sister's voice was like mountain water in a silver pitcher. The clear blue beauty of it cools you off and lifts you up, beyond your heat, beyond your body. That's what I like to remember, and that's what I told all of our therapists. I wanted them to know her, to know that who they saw was not all there was to see. To me, Rose was perfect. A mental illness in a family can be devastating, and sometimes the family members of the mentally ill must hang on to the good memories forever. Silver Water by Amy Bloom. Rose had her first psychotic break when she was 15. She was in hospitals for the next 10 years. Our best family therapist was Dr. Thorne. Rose moved into a halfway house. Rose would still go out from time to time, and the voices would tell her to do bad things. But Dr. Thorne or my mother could usually bring her back. But after 5 good years, Dr. Thorne died. Rose held on tight for 7 days. She took her meds and rearranged her room about 1,000 times. But then, Rose stopped taking her meds, and the halfway house wouldn't keep her after she pitched another patient down the stairs. My father called the insurance company and found out the Rose's new and improved psychotic coverage wouldn't begin for 45 days. I put all of her stuff in a garbage bag, and we walked out of the halfway house. "No meds," Rose said. "Rosie, do you want to drive the new car?" my mother asked. Rose's face lit up. "I'd love to drive the new car." "If you take your medication, after a while, you'll be able to drive the new car. That's the deal. Meds, car," my mother said, careful not to heat up Rose's paranoia. "You got yourself a deal, darling." I was living about an hour away then, teaching English. I went home every few days for dinner. I came on a Sunday, in the early afternoon, to help my father garden, something we had always enjoyed together. Mother and Rose were down at the lake. I didn't even get into the house until 4, when I saw someone had broken the piano bench into 5 neatly stacked pieces and placed them where the piano bench usually was. "We were having such a nice time, I couldn't bear to bring it up," my father said, standing in the doorway. "What did Mommy say?" "She said better the bench than the piano, and your sister just lay down on the floor and just wept. Then your mother took her down to the lake." "This can't go on, Vi. We have 27 days left. Your mother gets no sleep because Rose doesn't sleep. And if I could just pay $27,000 to keep her in the hospital until the insurance takes over, I'd do it." He put his hand over his mouth and went back into the garden. I couldn't see if he was crying. He stayed outside, and I stayed inside, until Rose and my mother came home from the lake. My mother kissed me lightly and told Rose to go up to her room and change out of her wet pants. Rose's eyes grew very wide. "Never! I will never!" She began banging her head with rhythmic intensity against the kitchen floor, throwing all of her weight behind each attack. My mother put her arms around Rose's waist and tried to hold her back, but Rose shook her off, not even looking around to see what was slowing her down. My mother crumpled next to the refrigerator. "Violet, please." I threw myself onto the kitchen floor, becoming the spot that Rose was smacking her head against. She stopped, a fraction of an inch short of my stomach. "Oh, Vi! Oh, Mommy! I'm sorry, don't hate me!" She staggered to her feet and ran, wailing to her room. My father heard the wailing and came running in. "Let me see." He held my mother's head and looked closely for bruises on her small, pale face. "What happened? Where's Rose?" Rose got upset, and when she went running up the stairs, she pushed Mommy out of the way. I've only told 3 lies in my life, and that was my second. At dinner, Rose would barely eat, and she hummed the McDonald's theme song over and over again, pausing only to spill juice on the front of her shirt, and began weeping. My father looked at my mother and handed Rose his napkin. She dabbed at herself, and the tears stopped. "I want to go to bed. I want to go to bed and be in my head. I want to go to bed and be in my bed and be in my head and just wear red. For red is the color that my baby wore. And once more, it's true. Yes, it's true. Oh, please don't wear red tonight. Oh, please don't wear red tonight. For red is the color that..." "Okay, Rose. It's okay. It's okay. I'll go upstairs with you, and you can get ready for bed. Then Mommy will come up and say goodnight too. It's okay, Rose." My father reached out his hand, and Rose grasped it. They walked out of the room together. I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I went down the hall and looked into Rose's room for no reason. She wasn't there. I could feel her absence. I went outside and saw her footprints darkening the grass into the woods. Rosie! Rosie, it's me! Are you there? Are you all right? I almost fell over her, huge and white in the moonlight. Her head was flung back. Rosie! Rosie! Her breathing was very slow. Closing time, she whispered. I believe that's what she said. I sat with her, uncovering the bottle of white pills by her hand. I watched the stars fade. The day of the funeral, my mother played the piano, and I closed my eyes and saw my sister, 14 years old, singing. That sweet sound floating around us, through our hearts, rising, still rising.